forward.
Let's start first with business.
Yeah.
With business, build another person's dream first. Don't try to build yours. What you make happen for someone else, life will make happen for you.
Wow.
Too many people are thinking about being number one. Be super good at being number two. So let me tell you something that will blow you away. Some of the biggest songs in the world were never supposed to be big songs.
The bigger the setback, the bigger the impact.
Yes. Good. I'm proud of you. You're going to do really, really well. You hear me? You got like a look in your eye. And then you got us.
All right, it's Jeff J here to make your day. I am proud to bring you one of the person that I want to prove right in life. I've been through my whole life proving people wrong. My quarterback coach, who said I could never become a quarterback, did that. My lifeguard, the girl who I had a crush on, said I could be a lifeguard. I'm a horrible swimmer, did that. And also a teacher. And now I'm proving one person right, and it feels so much better. This guy, and I'm going to give him a pretty good intro, but you're going to hear about him in a second. He is an acclaimed author, a very inspiring speaker. Anytime he speaks, I actually, as much as I talk, I want to hear him speak. He's a life coach, which is crazy. The journey I'm in now I'm actually interviewing a lot of life coaches, and he helps create people like Robert Downey Jr. and Charlie Sheen. In their darkest times, he's been their comeback voice. But my dad's favorite guy, Smokey Robinson, said this about him. Tim Storey is wonderful at walking people through the best and worst of times. This is Tim Storey, and we are in the worst of times. It's Corona season, man. It's 2020. Tim, that was my little intro for you. Give someone 60 to 90 seconds about you.
Okay, the reason I was smiling is because I like your energy.
I hear that a lot, man. You know what? They used to try and medicate this down for me all the time before, you know?
I'm glad it didn't work.
Yeah, no, it hasn't.
So, I mean, obviously we're in a very, very serious time. I mean, very serious. And I mean, something we need to pay attention to. But we've had them before. There was World War II for Americans, Vietnam War, Korean War. We've been through a lot of racial unrest for years. A lot of things have gone on, but never has it been where it's hit every part of the globe. It's hit the whole world. So it's a serious, serious time. But in the amidst of the serious time, which I call a life interruption, what I'm finding is that people are becoming more sober as far as aware of what's taking place in their life. And a lot of people are resetting what's important to them and not important to them. And so in the midst of a lot of devastation, there's a lot of positive life lessons that I find people that are learning.
Yeah, I know, and I've noticed that too. And it's funny, when you who you surround yourself with, you start to learn. And I'm pushing this out, this podcast, we're pushing out to people right now to give them a darker time. So even if they don't know who you are, or any voice, and they're just stuck home, they can hear us. So I've been putting a lot of the money that the Lord has blessed me to make into getting a better message out there. So the one thing I want to say, so I gave you a little direction. I know we're in a time like this. I'm actually, one of my older brother's dreams was to have the best talk show, right? Now I got Dana White, I got Tim Storey, I got you. I think Ryan Cuban, Mark Cuban, we just did Elena, we're doing Grant eventually. Certain people want to do in person. It's funny when you actually attack something in life that you want. Like, so what I've been inspiring people to do is, hey, go for what you want right now, get true to yourself in everything. Can you speak to someone right now who's sitting home and maybe they have the idea of what they want to do, but they don't know how to go about getting there?
Yeah, I think number one is that when you're trying to figure out what to do, is that what you're supposed to do is in the inside of you. And so I believe that even while you're in your mother's womb, that God placed your destiny inside of you. And so what then happens is that destiny begins to grow and it begins to talk. So your destiny is like a baby, because babies grow and then they talk. And so what you are called to do is growing in you, and it's also talking. So your dream has a voice. And so what we need to do is we need to now listen to what's being said. So how do I do that? I've got to stop, I got to look, and I have to listen. You got to stop, you got to look, you got to listen. So if you'll stop, look, and listen over a period of time, you'll start to say, man, this is wild. I don't know why, but I want to be a humanitarian. I don't know why, but I want to be an artist. I don't know why, but I want to work with animals. So whatever you're supposed to do in life is in you. And so you just need to stop, you need to look, you need to listen.
So before you became this guy who could really get people to stop, look, and listen, and really bring a lot of people back from the darkest time, and through the Lord and helping them out, I want people, so if they don't know about you, tell a little bit of your story, kind of where you grew up and your humble beginnings before you got to this point.
Well, I think that the thing for me is that we were in a lower income family, and so I didn't see a lot of success stories around me.
Right.
So the success stories that I saw were outside of my family. I'll give you an example. The first time I went to Disneyland when I was 8, and I saw this amazing place. Man, the streets were so clean, and they had all these amazing rides I'd never seen. They had a bear that could sing. They had It's a Small World After All. So what my little spirit did is it jumped. I find that when a true dreamer sees something that they know they're supposed to be like, their spirit jumps. So when I saw Disneyland, my spirit jumped. And it showed me that there was another side of life. And so there's 3 ways that we learn: education, observation, and conversation. So I began to educate myself by reading a lot of biographies and working hard in school. If I missed 3 days of school, my entire time from kindergarten to 12th grade, that would have been it. I never missed school. I was into school. So we learned from education, we learned from observation what we see, and we learned from conversation. So Disneyland was an observation that even though we were humble and cramped and crowded, I knew there was more, and I decided to go after that more.
So I'm already thinking you had a better grown up than me. I wasn't at Disneyland when I was 8. What they do? Did they screw up all the money to go to Disneyland? Is that where you were at? Because I know you didn't grow up from the most richest family, correct?
No, some people from my dad's job gave us the tickets.
Is that how that happened? Yeah, and you were close. So you grew up. Where did you grow up? You grew up there, right?
In Compton, California, in Compton. But the great thing about Compton is Dr. Dre's from there, Kendrick Lamar, Venus, Serena. That's where I was born, in Compton.
Tim, sir, do you ever wear a Straight Outta Compton t-shirt?
I have a Compton sweatshirt that says Compton. And I'm into LA. I wear a lot of LA hats, yeah.
Because it's funny, me and you have just a really good connection. I know we're going to be, whether or not we get raptured out of this thing or whatever happens, we'll be having a lot of conversations going forward. I used to teach behavioral middle school kids who grew up in bad Hartford thing. So the part of the reason they listen to this right now. So I want to talk to them because they're in the where they don't have like almost a chance, right? But they're dreamers. I used to coach or teach, actually. Say coach. I was a teacher. And, after my brother passed away, I actually started teaching some Grant Cardone and money management. I had elective class. The kid Nashawn, I'm going to give Nashawn, Jordan, and Kennedy were 3 kids who paid attention. They all have greatness inside them. They were all dreaming. They all liked it. So that's part of the reason why I kind of will structure some of the questions to that. So someone bought you tickets, you saw Disneyland. Some of these kids been to Disney. They were there. It's lake compounds out here that they went to, right? And they started dreaming. So what's your word to someone who's so stuck in an environment? Because environment is huge. I mean, now we have the internet and everybody's stuck. Well, what's the best way to get into a better environment for them?
Yeah, the best way is now what you listen to and what you see. So they had what we did not have.
Yeah.
So when I was a kid, we had like 3 channels. So now they got something called this. Look at this.
Yeah, I know. Right here. Yeah.
iPhone. So if they don't have one, their mother probably does, or if their mother doesn't, their father does, or if their father doesn't, their brother does or sister. So they can look at things that we couldn't look at before. So the reality is that through the power of the internet and the power of documentaries, movies, podcasts like yours, you can go into places and spaces that we could not before. Because before we needed somebody to drive us somewhere, a bus to take us. But now from where you are, you can connect. And then another thing is that you don't have to know all your heroes. You can just study them. Like for instance, right now, they're doing a big documentary on the life of Michael Jordan. I never knew Michael Jordan, but I'm learning a lot about him by just watching the documentary.
Yeah.
And so we have access to a lot that can stir us up, help us up, and wake us up. No doubt about it.
So I want to hear about though, and because you're right, we can definitely. I was just listening to Tom Billio before you had on, and then actually your video came on right after YouTube after, which is crazy. I'm like, oh, I just tried to interview this guy. Who were some of your heroes that back then that you listened to? Like you said, you read a biography. Who was the first person you listened to that made you think a little bit different that you got into?
See, I think that it's important that we don't like highlight the same guys, male or female, for inspiration, for all our inspiration. Like if you see a lot of rookie speakers, they will say the same illustrations. They'll say, Abraham Lincoln tried many times and failed. And they're just like saying the same illustrations. And then you talk to most influencers, they talk about the same guys that they learned from. That's not how I am. I learn lessons from the UPS guy, if he's got something good to say. I learn lessons from a person who has a small little shop somewhere, but yet they're happy. I'll learn lessons from a surfer I'll meet in Hawaii. So when I think of life lessons, it's not all from this guy, this guy, this guy, that guy, this lady, they're billionaires. No, I'm learning life lessons from people who are human beings that got a revelation. Because a revelation will not always take you to having just a luxurious life. A revelation took Mother Teresa to change millions of people. So that's what I'm into. So I learned from everybody.
You have, so my foremost, and that's true, I'm kind of like that, but I've had foremost pillar people in my life that have taught me, and I'll tell them now. I'm going to do a YouTube video on them. But it's funny you say that. One of the first YouTube videos I did, I interviewed a homeless guy, and I spent time looking at him and listening to where he got where he was, because I could even learn from him. But so I totally get what you're saying there. You can learn from someone once you get grounded. But the people, Martin Luther King Jr., Tim Tebow, Grant Cardone, and Conor McGregor for marketing were the foremost people that I've taken so much out of on how they did it. You know, you kind of fall in the Grant Cardone type thing. You don't have any. I get that, but you don't have any. Like, how important is like this word mentor? I almost hate the word mentor because I feel like we put it so much on somebody. I used to not use it for a while. But is a mentor important, or what's the most important for someone just trying to start?
Yeah, I think mentoring is important, and so you definitely need mentoring. You know, mentoring is even a biblical idea, which we would call discipleship. So Jesus himself mentored and discipled 12 men to do the works that he did. And his idea was that you will do the works I did and even greater. So I am known as a mentor and a discipler to many, many people. So mentoring is important, but what I'm saying is that you can't always judge a book by its cover. So just because a guy doesn't have all the outward, manifestations of success, he may be quietly brilliant. So I have people that speak into my life, and I get to be around the biggest names in the world of all walks of life. But that's not the thing that just turns me on. But once again, I can learn from the lady who owns local cleaners. And that's very important to know, because I think that people are missing life lessons by thinking they all have to get to the same person.
And that makes sense. One thing I want to ask though, and people have been asking me this just recently, and I don't even know, because I kind of think everybody's we're all born out of dust. We're all going to go away. We're all kind of figuring this out themselves. So people are, Jeff, how do you talk to these people or whatever? And now I'm about to ask the same question. Like, you've coached or helped out some, who was it? Robert Downey Jr.
But you don't have to say the names, because I have over 300 entertainers.
Right. So you've been with Oprah, Robert Downey Jr., Charlie Sheen, right?
I mean, come on, though. But I still, but I hang out with plumbers, and I mean, so to me, people are people. Those are just some of the people that I work with, and some of them that I helped. So that's all great, and that's part of what's made me popular. But one reason I get to do that, which really I don't know anybody else on the planet that has that kind of list. They may talk to a couple people, but not that kind of list for all these years.
Right.
There's a reason for that, because that's not where I put my priorities. My priority is in lifting up human beings from all walks of life. So I'm not moved by the shiny object.
No.
I've worked in Beverly Hills for 30 years. So if you work at Beverly Hills for 30 years, you're going to meet a lot of people.
Yeah.
I don't know of anybody that I can't get to.
Yeah.
But that's not what I'm into. I'm into lifting up human beings who do all kinds of things.
Which is one thing I love about you, is like kind of almost how humble you are. I saw Mike Sirac give me a shout out about everything. And I remember the first time I saw you speak, that video you just saw, I will say, you did bring up that. And I didn't know you worked with such names like that people knew before. I knew of you because but you just did it so humbly and humility. Where does the humility come from? Where you can just, although you've been around, and you're right, you've been in there, but where does that humility come from? Someone who has like a huge ego. Like right now, I used to have an ego. I used to not be proud of where I was, okay? But I got self-growth and I got better now. What's a good way to detect someone's ego?
I think one thing is that ego, there's nothing wrong with ego.
Okay.
And that God does not kill your ego, he sanctifies it. Because I need your ego, because your ego could keep you alive. Your ego can keep you out of trouble. Your ego can keep you from, hey, I'm not going to stay stuck. But if the ego gets filled with pride, then you have to sanctify it or purify it, but don't kill it. And so I don't mind somebody that has swag. When I go out and speak, there's a lot of young guys that come up and they say, I'm going to be greater than you. And I go, awesome. And so that's where they're coming from. And they think they can do it. And Scottie Pippen said that to Michael Jordan when he first came in the NBA. Now, he was wrong, but that's where he was coming from. So I don't mind the ego thing, but you got to sanctify it. Now, the humility, I'm not into false humility. So I don't like bow down and act with this false humility. But my thing is that I'm really good at what I do. Okay? But I'm not the best chef I'm not the best salesman. I'm not the best basketball player. I'm not the best hockey player. But at what I do, pretty doggone good. But what I know is that to make the world go round, it's going to take more than me being good at what I do. Yeah. That's one reason that you feel what you feel from me is that it does take a village. I'm a piece of the puzzle, yeah. But I am a vital piece. But I am a piece of the puzzle.
Well, when did you realize that you had such a gift to do that? When did you realize that was your skill to fall into it? Where was that?
When they started standing in line. You know, when you pull up and you're going to speak and the guys are in the parking lot going, oh my God, we've never seen crowds like this. And I'd see them, these lines of people everywhere. And I was speaking to 1,000, 2,000, then 3,000, then 10, then 20, then 30, then 40, then 50, then 80,000. I knew I might be onto something. And then when I had my first celebrity, then my 17th, then the 37th, and the 78th, and the 91st. And then I said, I might be onto something. So now that I'm onto something, now I need to keep the standard high. So I work super hard to keep the standard high. I mean, if you were to come into my office, you're going to see all these workbooks. And I've got about $70,000 worth of information here. You say, what do you mean 70,000? Because I pay people to help put together curriculum for me. I pay researchers, psychologists, psychiatrists. So I'm not just shooting from the hip ever. Yeah. So like Jay-Z, you can see Jay-Z rap and you're like, oh, he's just shooting from the hip. No, he's been marinating on that stuff for years. And then it seems like he's just spitting it.
Well, that's the thing to me. I don't listen to music. I don't drink alcohol, and I don't chase girls. Right? I only focus because music and alcohol lead to girls. And in my 20s, I was good at making money, but I was spending it on Spanish girls all the time. Right? So I'm more focused now. So just recently, I'm kind of having the thing too, where people are paying me to coach them. They're asking me questions. It's kind of getting a thing. They notice that I have something, and at that point there, and I mean that in the most, I almost feel the humility way possible. But I really don't want to let people down. I know it takes more than me. So I want to connect people to it. I've been pushing people, hey, go check out Tim Storey, man. Go check out these guys. Find the voice that then will lead you into it. So what's one and I want to ask you this too, because I'm not really good at this. I have a business partnership for a software that I'm involved in that's not producing cash flow right now. But what's a good relationship advice? Business-wise, because entrepreneur-wise, we have to do business-wise and maybe female-wise too.
Okay, let's start first with business.
Yeah.
With business, build another person's dream first. Don't try to build yours. What you make happen for someone else, life will make happen for you.
Wow.
Too many people are thinking about being number one. Be super good at being number two. So let me tell you something that will blow you away. Some of the biggest songs in the world were never supposed to be big songs. They were what was called on the B side of the record, the old records.
Oh, yeah, I know, yeah.
They had the A and the B side. If you were to Google famous B-side records, you don't have to do it right now, you're going to find a plethora, which means a lot, of hits that were supposed to be B-side. So everyone wants an A-side, but be good at being the B-side and work your B-side like you would your A-side, and you won't be the B-side for long. So what I'm about is I build other people's dreams. I mean, this last 10X that Grant Cardone did, I went there. I was not announced that I was going to speak. I went there just to support my friend. So I was walking through and people were saying, hey, how come you're not speaking? Or you're not going to speak? Or, man, I can't believe they got Tim Storey here and he's not speaking. Didn't faze me one bit. I didn't go there to speak. I went there to support my friend. So then he asked me to speak. And so then I did, and turned out good. So my point is this: work somebody else's dream. And what you make happen for someone else, life will make happen for you. Don't think about yourself so much. Work somebody else's dream. And while you're working their dream, you're learning from their successes and from their challenges, and you're getting better at yours. And then if you do that, you'll reap what you sow, and you'll draw people that want to work your dream. So that's what I've drawn now. I mean, I got people from all over the world trying to move to where I live to try to work my dream. So that's my point on that.
No, trust me, I want to help your dream out too. It's funny that you say that because so in my software investment, I'm always good at making money. I finally invested all in software. My business partner, we built his software first, which is one that's not cash flowing right now. So I'm going to have a lead generation software named PostFlow one day because I know how to do it. I'm very good at all that. But it's funny because with Brad Earners, it's his software. So when he said that, I'm like, hey, I'm on path right now. And I've learned so much by helping him build his dream, you know? So that's huge. But how great was 10X, by the way?
I mean, it was phenomenal. But you got to see what Grant and Elena did in their team by putting themselves out there, because it's risky business. Even how famous they are, it's risky. You got to put a lot of money out. People can cancel at the last minute. The celebrities they had were just at a whole other level.
Yeah.
But those guys could have canceled. So it's all really risky business. So the fact that they have pulled it off 4 times successfully, and will do it again next year, is a big deal. And so I really like them. You know, they're personal friends of mine, and I like them a lot. Okay, number 2. So my second thing is, you talked about relationships.
Yeah.
So in a relationship, here's what I say. The healthier you are, you're then going to draw a healthier person.
I like that.
If you are super unhealthy, you are going to look for unhealthy people, and you're going to draw unhealthy people, because like attracts like. So work on yourself physically, mentally, spiritually, socially, financially, your job. Work on yourself, and it'll be weird. You'll start drawing people, and it won't even be sometimes about this, or you got a 6-pack or an 8-pack like he does. But they'll be drawn to like your essence, your aura. Like some of the most powerful women I know are not like aesthetically, like they're not like models, but they're super attractive because they're just like healthy. Same with a lot of powerful men that I know. They may not have like the looks of a certain type of movie star, but they draw people because they're healthy. So become a healthy person, and then don't be afraid to go to coffee with somebody or go to lunch with somebody. Just do it as friends. Be a friend first, and just dialogue with somebody. Don't take everything so serious.
That's great advice right there. Because actually, one of our common friends, who's actually one of Elena's best friends, is this girl, Bobby Awad. You know Bobby, right?
Yep.
And she actually, it's funny, I didn't look at anything of her. She's a 10X girl. It's funny, when you started attracting success, you started attracting people, where she actually gave me valuable advice, where she was actually like thinking so much more and helping me out. That's, I think, how we got the Elena interview so soon, you know? But she's been really good at helping me. And one thing I even noticed too in life, right now, like I'm still working on myself. I don't want to meet the girl right now. I still want to keep working, you know? And in that, like, I noticed when you kind of do that, you start attracting better people around. How since I got you on this thing, you know?
Yeah, but I like what you're saying, and Elena's great, and Bobby's great. They're 2 smart ladies, and so, you know, see the type of woman at that level and that standard, and they both are extremely classy, and you know, just set your standards high. But the thing is, again, this is for women or for men, is that like attracts like. So be good at what you're good at. Do the best you can. Keep your car clean. Keep your room clean. Keep your closet clean. Be like a together person, and you'll draw a together person. This is the way it works.
Yeah, that's wisdom, because when I was in my 20s, I was attracting messes because I was a mess in my 20s, you know, so it makes a lot of sense, you know. All right, when you were young, did you feel that you'd be here now doing all this and speaking and helping people? Did you, when you were in Compton?
I knew I was going to do well at changing people's lives.
Yeah.
So that's I knew I'd do well at that. I thought I was going to do it more in the inner cities. That's what I wanted to do. So to live this kind of life, no, I didn't see it coming. But I would say that by the grace of God, it's been pretty cool. I'm riding, as I told a guy recently, I'm riding a big giant North Shore wave. And so by the grace of God, yeah, that's how I see it.
All right, so that leads into this question, because you said inner cities. I used to teach at the school that I told you, and Grant actually told me, as entrepreneurs, Charter Book Group, yeah, you're not going to change the education system. So I've aligned myself with powerful people. Dan Fleischman, he's going to be on here. Manny Lopez, who's that? Caleb Maddox, all these guys who want to change the education system. I actually even talked to Floyd Mayweather at the 10X thing, and people always ask me, Jeff, what are you saying to all these guys, how they're listening to you? And I said to him, because personally, I respect Floyd for all he's done, but I rooted against him in all his fights. So I was pretty disappointed all the time, even though he's a brighter guy and he knows not to get hit. But I said to him, when Grant was up there interviewing him, I said to him, Grant asked him one thing, and I saw his heart change, how crabs in a bucket, he wishes he could help people. So I grabbed his hand, you see it on my Instagram, and I said to him, people always asking, so I'm unveiling it in this one. I said to him, hey, Grant, and I pointed to Grant, I said, Grant said, I'm not going to change the education system. I might need your help to do it. You got me? And he said, you bet. So what's your change that you think we can do in the education system? One change.
Okay. So this will be my final answer, because I got to go from one place to the other, but I'm enjoying this conversation.
Yeah.
So I think that the changing of the education system is already happening. You look at guys like Andre Agassi, what he's done in Las Vegas, creating an academy. You look at what LeBron James has done in Ohio, creating an academy. There are different people who think beyond the box, who are already changing the system and the way it's being done. Also, young people are demanding that the system be changed because they're not loving what's being taught at school. And it sounds like Charlie Brown's parents like want, and they're not listening. But we're finding that on their own, they're like learning all kinds of amazing stuff. So when I talk to like 13, 14, and 15-year-olds, they think they could take the planet over. I just spoke at a school that it's an all-boys school in a very wealthy part in the East Coast. And they say it's the #1 private school for boys in America. It's a bunch of wealthy kids. And when I met with a lot of them in small groups, because I did the big group, and then I met with 3 different groups of small groups, they basically were saying, hey, old people, get out of our way. We got next. But they were equipping themselves. So the system is changing. And if you don't like the way it is exactly, the great thing is, watch. You could take master classes on YouTube. You could watch TED Talks. You could watch your podcast. You could join the Tim Storey World Shakers Network every Monday at 4 Pacific time. There's a lot of things you could do. So it's a new day. I think it's changing already.
Well, and I thank you for being a part of the change with World Shakers. I didn't give a shout out to that. World Shakers every Monday. He is a World Shaker. He's Tim Storey. Thank you for your time. We'll do this again in person when we go again. I'm sure this isn't the last you'll see of me. All right.
Yeah, listen, I'm enjoying you, and thanks for bringing so much wisdom and content. and bring it on the caliber of guests that you're getting. That's a big deal. So keep on following him. He's bringing in some people that are bringing in a lot of value that will change your life.
Awesome, Tim Storey. Good. Tim Storey Official on Instagram. That's the best place to really follow you, or where? Tim Storey, what is it, .com?
Yeah, you got timstorey.com, STOREY. Then you got Tim Storey Official.
By the way, I have to say this. You're the one person I haven't spelled your last name wrong ever. And I know people have done it. Brad Lee, I spelled wrong all the time. He's yelling, it's Lee, it says in T. So I got to say, we already have that connection. I didn't get your name wrong once. So,
Love it.
awesome. All right, Tim, go do what you got to do. I actually got to get to work and hit the phones because I'm not at your level yet, man. But I'll never be at my own level. So have a blessed day, all right?
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, sir.
All right, Jeff J. Cutting with the Tim Storey. Brad Lee, say hey to Brad Lee.
Brad Lee, you are shaking it up. You're dropping truth bombs, changing people's lives. It's almost too much, Jeff.
Yeah, it's almost too much.
He's taking over the space.
Yeah, perfect.
People are running for the door just because he's taking up so much good space.
Yeah, it's funny because how I found you is also the guy Grant Cardone. You know Grant, right?
Yeah, I was just with him the other day.
Oh, are you really?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that guy, I'm going to build a coffee shop music studio. It was mine and my brother's dream, and he passed away. Found a video of Grant on depression. I'm a Jesus guy, man.
Yeah.
It's a whole story, but that's what's gonna happen. So this is the journey. And Tim Storey, man, follow this guy. This guy does so much wisdom thing. I downloaded on you. I think Evan Carmichael, you know who that is? He did top
I love
10
Evan.
He's great. He's what entrepreneurs need. So we have a lot of entrepreneurs watching this channel. What's a truth bomb you can drop Brad Lee style here?
Okay, Brad Lee's style I cannot do, but I can do my style because no one could do Brad Lee.
Yeah, that's true.
But here's what I want to say, that sometimes you got to be left before you get right. Life is sometimes left. That's what happened with you with your brother passing, and you with other problems. You went left, but now you went right. You learned from the left, and now you're right, and that's all right.
See, it's too good. I gotta, dude, you're good, man. That's awesome. All right, thank you, Tim Storey.
Don't give up on your kids, they're still unfolding. Don't even give up on your crotchety parents. Come on, somebody. They're still unfolding. Somebody else, what did you learn?
The bigger the setback, the bigger the impact.
Yes. Good, I'm proud of you. You're gonna do really, really well. You hear me? You got like a look in your eye. And then you got us.
I'm hungry, man.
No, but you got us.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah.
You got us. We like you.